Today I'm going to be messing around with this row right here. It's the step components, and these are like MIDI effects that can completely transform your sound. I hardly ever use just one by itself. I like to use several together, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'll just go quickly through what they are. You start out with the pulse. It repeats the step. It stops your sequence right there and keeps repeating the step, so it throws the timing off. Could be good or bad, depends on how it sounds. Then hold stops the sequence for a certain number of beats, starts again, and that throws off the timing. Sometimes sounds good, sometimes sounds bad. Multiply, that's like what you think of as a ratchet. So it doesn't stop the sequence, it keeps rolling. Instead of an eighth note, you'll get two 16th notes there. Then velocity, that allows you to set the velocity on a step to a particular value. So if you want it like loud every fourth time, you use that in combination with skip step component. You can skip it a certain number of times, bam, then on the fourth playthrough, have it be loud. Ramp up, it ramps the notes up in various ways. Ramp down, ramps it down. Random, it randomizes the notes that you've got, but it does it in an interesting way, not just totally random. It'll randomize it in a certain way, like playing fifths and thirds and things. It sounds very musical. Portamento, of course, that's the slide. Bend is very interesting because it kind of bends around the pitch and sounds very analog sounding. It can sound very analog sounding because the pitch is just off just a little bit at times. It sounds great. Tonality lets you transpose a selected step. Jump, you jump to or jump across a certain number of steps. And jump, of course, using this one here, you can jump every certain number of times around, and then it jumps. And this one is skip parameter lock. This is skip components. So you use that one a lot more with these. And then skip trigger. I use that occasionally too. It's completely skip a trigger. I've got this very simple little Eurythmics type of beat in here. So the way you add them is by holding shift and tapping it, and you see it flash. Now I think Teenage Engineering missed a trick here. I think they could have you tap it a second time, which does nothing currently, but like other things on the OPXY, it could turn red with the second tap. Sometimes these are red, like if you go in here, see the LEDs can turn red. So that would be cool. On the step components, if you hit that once, you get this row that's written on the front. And if you hit it a second time, you get a whole nother row of step components. That would be cool. So anyway, you hit it, and now that means we're adding a step component to that step. So I'm going to add the first one here. It's pulse. Now, pulse is going to stop the sequencer on that step and repeat that step a given number of pulses and then move on. So yes, it is going to throw off our sequence, but sometimes it can do some cool things. So I'll add it on there. So you hear it's throwing the whole thing off. But we can add some other things with it. We can also change the length of this bar and fix it to some extent. So let's add this stair step here. Now the stair step is called ramp up, and you have Let's listen to what it does. Now, when I use these two together, I like to add this one here. It's called bend. And bend will kind of add this analog feel to it because it will play around with the pitch. You'll hear what I mean. Now it's only doing it during the step component stage. I could put it on the bend on everything, which I often do because I like that kind of analog feel in there. Now I can take off a couple steps and make it kind of adding in extra steps. Yeah, it seems that we had a 16 step sequence, and for the pulse it stopped the sequence on that step and played it 4 times total, so that's 3 extra times. So there's the 3 extra times. They're now turned off. So I shortened it to a 13 step sequence, and now it's back on track. Okay, now this one here is skip the step component. So do that little repeat only every so often. So I'll add that. Got that flashing, and I can see the 3 that are already on it. And I'll add that one. So that's gonna allow me to skip that little arpeggio every second time around. And you have skip the parameter lock. So if I had put parameter locks on it, I could do that same type of skipping. This one here is skip a trigger. So it will just completely skip that trigger every so often. I can add that one to it. Skip the trigger maybe every 3rd time. Okay, so that one seems quite unpredictable. It's hard to tell what it's going to do. Maybe because I have so many of these step components on there. And then you have standard ratcheting, which is this division one. Now that one it won't mess up your sequence. And what that one will do is divide it up like from a quarter note to 8th note to 16th note, 32nd notes, and fill that space, but it doesn't stop the sequence. It continues rolling along. So if I divide it, let's see, divide it into 3 trigs within the same space of time. Random. It randomizes the notes on the selected step inside the current scale. So it'll just play a different note every time. And then let's add another one to that. Let's add slide to it. use tonality to transpose it. Can't really hear it because I've got the slide. So this is very interesting. I have a ratchet and a ramp down on that last step. And because there's a ramp down on this step, it's doing something where it selects a different sound every time it goes through for the drums. Check this out. Now I can add jump to it, and jump will skip over a chosen step. So, but I can make it so it only happens, maybe every third time or something like that. So let's add that to the very first step. And I'll add a jump to that. And it'll jump past all this stuff. Jumps to step 13. Now, to make it happen only every so often, I will skip step component and put that on a 3. Let's see what happens. There, it jumped on the third one. Now, ostensibly, let's see, if I took that step off, this is 13, 14, 15, 16. That step is no longer there. We shouldn't hear anything if I put the jump on that step. And I jump to step 13 every time. We'll probably hear it one time through, and it'll keep jumping to where there's no information. So we shouldn't hear anything then. Let's see. Yeah, it's just continuously jumping there. Well, I think that does it for this one. If there's anything you want to know about the OPXY, let me know in the comments. See you next time.